All right, welcome everybody to the KQ Show, Episode 5, Instructional Guide for Your Listening Pleasure. We really did it. 5 episodes. You know, for those new to this show, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm just like everyone else. I wake up, take a long bath, back to the store for a shorter one, and then start my day. As a young lad, I had what my parents would call the gift of gab. I love conversations, and I love learning from people. And most of all, I love having fun. I surround myself with positive and creative people that have helped structure who I am today. And now I just want to tell their stories. I'll be chatting with business owners, athletes, musicians, artists, etc. Today's episode brings us talking with the second best carpenter ever. I sit down with Chase Taylor, owner of Taylor Custom Carpentry. We discuss his skills in carpentry, how his family is providing self-sustaining food through hunting and raising chickens. And finally, he describes being a young boy when his father saved him and his family from a religious cult. You know, we hit all emotions on this one, folks. We had a blast, and I really hope you enjoy the episode. KQ Show. Welcome, everyone, to the KQ Show, Episode 5. Today's episode is brought to you by Taylor Custom Carpentry. At Taylor Custom Carpentry, they realize that building or remodeling a home is a major investment and can sometimes be a very stressful experience. Taylor Custom Carpentry specializes in custom trim, doors, stairways, and cabinetry. And with more than 10 years of experience, they are privileged to make the dreams for your home a reality. Check out Taylor Custom Carpentry of South Bend on Facebook. Our guest today, married for 16 years, father of 2, owner of Taylor Custom Carpentry for 11 years, an avid hunter, cook, and even brews his own beer, and commissioner of the League of Noobs fantasy football team for damn near a decade, if not more than a decade, I believe. Yeah. Mr. Chase Taylor.
Well, thank you very much, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. I'm glad. Yeah, I was going to ask you earlier how long, man, because I remember, has it been over 10 years?
12 years, actually.
12 years.
12, yeah.
Because I remember I angrily left 1 year. It was the defensive scoring that got me out. So it's been what, man? I think I've got second place 2 years ago. I got second, third, fourth. I got second place so many times. And then Feather jumps in first year and he's like, I think I'm doing pretty good this year. I'm like, yeah, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then he destroyed everybody.
It's fantasy football, man. Like, you could get other ones? You do other fantasy sports?
No, I mean, fantasy baseball is an everyday thing. I don't know how people keep up with that.
It's crazy.
It would be a nightmare. It's hard enough keeping up with fantasy football, managing a league, and then I'm in 3 others. So it's tough to manage just one game a week.
All right, so walk me through this drink that you just made that blew my mind.
Yeah. Smoked old fashioned. Get a little craft ice in there. Little smoked. The little smoke machine my wife got me for Christmas. Thanks. Shout out to Cody. Love you, babe.
I mean, I feel like you're kind of downplaying it. First, if you open up a backpack full of stuff, and you're like, hang on, you got a lighter? Like, you toss like some... So what is that whole process do?
Those were just hickory chips from the shop. And then when you drop the ice in and squeeze that orange rind, the oils from the orange kind of make the smoke go away. It's pretty neat.
So I want to roll that into one of your other hobbies, man. So making beer, that's awesome. You know, like I looked into it myself and I was like, that seems like a whole lot of fucking work, and I definitely am not going to do it. So how'd you get into it, and what do you like about it?
Oh man, how did I get into it? I guess it was I was tired of spending $14.99 for a 4-pack of quality good beer.
Yeah.
Because I can't do the light beers and the cheap beers and stuff like that. You acquire a taste for good beer and you just can't go back. So wife and I were sick of spending $40-50 a week on beer. It's kind of sad to say, but so we just started looking into it, and I'm always one to create things. I like making things with my hands and seeing what I can do, and we just kind of dove head first. YouTube is a fantastic thing when you're doing stuff because there's just so much information out there at the fingertips. And so we just started watching videos and, okay, that's easy. And we came up with a really terrible setup for the first couple of beers that we made. It was pathetic, really. But
what do you mean?
Just
because I don't even know what a setup means.
Well, you need your boiler. You need your mash tun, which is what they call where you're mashing your grains in order to extract the sugar from them, so they can ferment the yeast can ferment the alcohol out of it. But you just you watch YouTube videos and they're like, yeah, take an igloo cooler and do this and that, and it's easy peasy. And you, oh yeah, that's super simple. And you go to the hardware store and buy all the stuff, and then you go back to the hardware store because the stuff that you bought, because you couldn't find the stuff that they had, didn't quite work. And so it was a little bit of a slog at first, but now that there's a lot more brewing equipment out there for the home brewers. So I got a little setup several years ago, and I mean, you do it all in one little setup. You put all your grains in, turn the thing on, it circulates the water through the grains at a certain temperature, and you just got to watch it. And then after it boils down and you add all your hops, you throw it in the fermenter, put a little yeast in there, and walk away.
So what does it break down then per like bottle of beer, or do you know offhand?
You get, out of 5 gallons, you get about 53 beers. You're generally going to get a little waste from the trub at the bottom. So I usually do 5.5 gallons, so I get that full 5-gallon yield. But you're usually, for a good quality beer, you're about 50 to 60 cents a beer.
Damn.
And I mean, that's
a lot.
That's a lot cheaper. But
good way to become
you've got a pretty,
as well.
You've got, yeah, especially when you've got a keg on tap constantly. You got it in a cooler, and you can just walk up and tap your own beer at 7.5%. It gets a little dangerous.
What'd you bring to
last year's that was a Zombie Dust clone that I do pretty much. That's our favorite one. We do it pretty much all the time.
Fire, man.
It's really good, and it goes really fast.
Yeah,
because it's so good.
It's weird. It's like you miss out on just the, I don't know, like everything has like that weird aftertaste or something, but like instead it's like just all flavor. It's just almost like you're like having some organic versus non-organic.
It really is, though. I mean, it's all natural. I know exactly where the stuff's coming from. I know exactly what's going into it, and that's what we're really after, especially with all the nasty stuff that you find in food, and cancer is such a prevalence in our society because of all the garbage that they're feeding us. So we're definitely trying to become more self-sufficient.
That's pretty cool. So what have you, I would assume, I mean, did you fuck up a batch?
Oh, yeah.
What was it, dude? What was the worst that happened? And...
a couple. I tried to do a lager once, and the things with lager, there's lager and there's ales. Those are two completely different kinds of beer. Ales ferment at a lot higher temperatures, so they're easier to make. A lager ferments at lower temperatures, 30, 32 degrees, something like that. And that's real key in that flavor. That crisp flavor of a lager is all about fermenting in that cool temperature. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't have a fridge that I can ferment in, but it was the winter months. So I tried down in the basement where it stays fairly cool. And I opened one of the windows just so there was a screen. So, I mean, it stayed cool back in that little corner, but not nearly enough. It was just, I was an idiot for trying it, and the beer tasted like raisins. Like, it was awful.
So what happens to it? Like, if it's just not the right temperature?
It's just not fermenting properly. There's a certain attenuation that you need with the yeast, and it's just not hitting that proper... It needs those colder temperatures in order to flourish, and if it's fermenting too fast, then you're just going to get off flavors. Ales you want to drink young, because the hop flavor, which is generally in an ale, the younger the beer, the more prevalent that smell is going to be, and that's where you're getting all that flavor is in the nose. A stout or a porter, something darker, that can sit in a barrel or something or age for years and be fine, as long as you're sterile and good about keeping things sterile in your fermentation. It's not going to get spoiled.
You never try to get into like making like, I mean, is it even worth making like grain alcohol? Like, is that even a thing people do?
That is my next step.
Oh, yeah?
I definitely want to do that. I don't have a still. The craftsman in me wants to make one, but I don't know that I'm confident enough in how they work, and I don't want to waste a bunch of money because copper's not cheap, and you want to make a proper copper still.
Dang.
So I'll probably end up buying one and then kind of deconstructing it to see exactly how it's made and then make my own in a bigger scale or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely want to make some whiskey for sure. Yeah.
So how long is it? Because is that like a lot longer of a process?
Oh, yeah.
And then if you're doing just whiskey, are you like bourbon or scotch or?
I would go for bourbon because I'm definitely a bourbon guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you make the grain alcohol like any other thing, and then you age it in a barrel, a charred oak barrel of some sort. And the longer you wait, the longer you age it, the more you turn that barrel, the richer the flavor is going to be.
It just seems like just fun to do. Like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, because man, I couldn't imagine how much alcohol. Like if you're making a barrel of alcohol. I mean, I don't know what that ends up being.
A lot of booze.
Yes, I mean, some of the higher end scotches and even some of the bourbons I have, they're just so much better. What can they do that you're not able to do at your house?
You need experience because there are certain runs you need to know exactly because you got to be tasting it as that still is dripping off and slow. You know, the first several runs you basically dump out because they taste terrible. And then there's those middle runs that taste perfect. And then there's the end runnings that you kind of want to dump out too. So, and then you take all those little middle runnings and you mix them together to make that flavor you're looking for. And then you age it or you just use it as corn whiskey. I mean, some of those Southerners, they don't bother aging it.
Straight gasoline.
Straight gas. Yeah.
You kind of talk a little bit about kind of almost self-sustaining and how you're kind of going organic. And, you know, you're big into hunting, so and I know you hunt and you eat a lot of the stuff that you catch, except for I don't know human. You mentioned
no, I don't eat a lot of human.
Okay, but you do hunting though.
I try to keep that on the down low.
Okay, so
but you know, nobody's.
We'll cut this
hear that.
Since you have a knife out right now.
Yeah, sure.
So wait, you know, what got you into hunting?
Well, my dad, growing up in the country, grew up out in the middle of nowhere. So there was nothing to do but, you know, mill around the yard. We had a couple of acres and I had a BB gun and, you know, a big imagination. Outdoors have always been a thing for me, you know, being outside, just discovering stuff, walking out in the woods, you find something new every time. Even walking in the fields around my house where I grew up, there were a lot of Native Americans that were living in that area years, 150 years ago, 200 years ago. So we would find arrowheads,
oh, that's cool,
little Indian beads and things like that. I mean, you don't find them every time, but roaming around, you got nothing else to do in the summertime. What else are you going to do? So we would look, on our way to the woods, in the fields, find stuff, and then just roam around the woods, shoot the BB gun at birds and squirrels and things like that. Of course, what are you going to do when you're kids? And then when you get older, you have BB gun fights with your friends in those woods. I know there's some people that'll have a chuckle at that are listening to this.
Are you, would Craig say?
Oh, I think Ronnie would definitely know that, old Uncle Ronnie.
Man, I got shot a ricochet in the face, not like the eye, but right by my eye. We thought it was a good idea. We had a big ass tire, in our backyard, like a big tractor tire. We thought it'd be good to shoot that with BB guns because
it'll go
safe.
through. Yeah, it'll go through.
Safe. Dude, those things were bouncing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh man, I think I got stung.
That's funny you say that because in one of our many BB gun fights, my buddy Ben Featherolf, I don't know if he listens to this or not.
Oh, he sure does. Yeah.
We had a 2-pump, I think, a 2 or 3-pump rule, I think. The old 670 pump master.
Oh yeah,
I had 2 or 3 of them. You had a 2-pump rule, and you had to try to aim below the waist. God, we were such idiots. And I remember tracking Ben as he's running across the woods, and I shoot him, and all of a sudden I hear, "Ah, a bee stung me." We all started dying laughing. I was like, "No, Ben, that wasn't a bee."
Dude. Yeah, I remember we used to always get Roman candle fights too. We used to like Roman candle fights. So that was, man, actually when Jameson lived here, we used to made a little fire pit in the backyard and put a bunch of gas in there and try to light it, but with Roman candles. Just super far away. Skew.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's like Joe Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. So when so you had a BB gun. When did you get your first gun?
Oh, geez. Probably 8 years old.
Okay.
I think I shot my first gun. I think my dad finally let me have my first gun when I was 10. Shotgun. Little break action deal. Still have that gun, actually, down in my basement. Shot a few rabbits with it growing up. That's where we basically started hunting, was just, we'd go out around Thanksgiving often and kind of walk around and rabbit hunting. We'd actually, just around our property, we had tall grass, and they would hang out there, and you could kick them up. And I started with a slingshot.
Oh, for real? Like with the actual metal ball?
Yeah,
thing?
the old, the wrist rocket deals.
Yeah.
And we would have the metal balls, and I was never able to hit one. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's...
How could you?
It's insane.
But, then we would start to kick them up and try to shoot them with the 410, and that just piqued my interest. Always being out in Mother Nature. It's good for you.
So you do bow hunting now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you like that better than gun?
Yeah, I generally don't gun hunt anymore. I prefer bow hunting because it's more of a challenge. It's more, takes you, a little bit more back to earlier, simpler times. I actually got a traditional bow last year for the first time. That's different than a compound bow where you have the cams that shoots a lot faster. The traditional bow is a recurve, actually, and that's just the regular, just stick and string. And it's instinctive aiming, so you don't have any sights or anything. You just pull back and you aim.
You've killed something with it?
I have not. No, I just got it last year, and I don't feel I'm proficient enough to take it into the woods.
Now you're saying you're just having just a piece of wood. With is it like lock in place with the extra stuff on it?
No.
It's just straight up like Indian
straight
type
up
of bow and arrow.
Yeah, Native American.
Okay. Oh, my bad. That's crazy. I didn't know it was that, to that extent. So there's no locking it in.
Nope.
You don't got that weird wrist with the finger thing.
No, not for that one. No, wow. I do for my compound bow, and that's much easier. I mean, you can reach out 60 yards, easy peasy. But outside of 20 yards with the traditional stuff is tough.
And that's why you're riding bareback on a horse too, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, is Hawkeye your favorite Avenger then?
No.
Okay,
that
shouldn't be.
Hawkeye really bothers me because there's a lot of inaccuracies with the way he uses his bow. So yeah, that drives me nuts. It's real cringy.
Well, I mean, hey, he's an Avenger, so you know.
I mean, it's the Marvel universe, so you got to kind of.
Yeah, at least it's not the DC. We've already had. You haven't listened to the last episode, but we were to a battle of like Marvel, DC, everything else.
Yeah, I'll definitely be getting to that Monday. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. So what got to, so you said your son's hunting too, right? Now, is he do a bow or does he have a gun or what?
Son and daughter, actually.
Oh, is that okay?
And Cameron, he's got a bow. He has yet to harvest an animal, but he's been out with me several times and gotten the experience, gotten that heart thumping when something comes out, but we just haven't had the opportunity to take one yet. You got to make sure that you take an ethical shot,
Okay.
You can't. That's the one key thing with hunting. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. Hunters are there because they're providing for their family. It's not because they're wanting to kill stuff. I would never kill something just to kill it. I'm out there to provide quality organic meat for my family. And that's what it's all about. And so, if you're out there and you can't get a quality shot, then you don't take it.
So what do you mean quality shot?
A good broadside shot that you're going to be able to dispatch that animal within seconds. No.
Okay.
No.
So because I know a lot of times, like kids get to the point where like they can almost pull the trigger or whatever, and then say, I just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he ready to do it? Like you think if he's got the right shot, he's ready to take an animal down?
Yeah. He as he gets older, and I went through the same stuff. His interests are waning. And he's more into video games with his friends, and I remember going through the same thing. When I was,
their video games are way cooler than ours.
Oh, Jesus criminy, yeah.
Yeah.
But my daughter, she's 4 years younger than him, so she's definitely into it. And she likes the outdoors a little bit more. And she actually harvested a deer before Cameron did this last fall.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Wait, with gun or arrow?
Arrow, but a crossbow. She's not able to pull back enough weight. She's 10.
She was how old? She was 10 at the time?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's 10-year-old with a crossbow.
With me.
That's interesting.
Knowing how to protect, use it
big
properly.
Enough deer too, not like a little.
It was, we were out there to harvest a deer, and if one presented us a good shot, we were going to take us. She got a doe, and we had quite an ordeal finding it, which is probably not an appropriate story for this podcast because
you found it, I guess.
We did find it.
End game is
we had it. We had an encounter with the neighbor, which was weird. But that's all I'll leave it at.
That's fine. That's all you should.
But it was a good encounter for her because it shows you things that you can encounter when you're out there and you run into people that don't like hunting. But it is what it is.
How'd she take it? Like, her first kill, how was it? Was it?
Oh,
she excited?
She was super excited.
Awesome.
She took it like a champ. She helped me process it.
That's what I was going to ask next. Okay.
Field dress is what it's called. And she was right in there with me. I was super proud of her.
So 10-year-olds say they're just skinning
10 years old. Well, you don't skin it in the field. You just remove the entrails and all that stuff. And but you want to keep the skin on and keep all that stuff intact before you drag it out because it's a less of a chance of any bacteria getting in or anything like that. But we've got a good sled. We pull it out, pop it in that sled, get her out of there, and then hang it up.
So what? So you obviously she ate some of the meat. Then I take it.
Oh yeah.
So what? How was that experience? I mean, she got to eat her first.
She was excited, but she will only eat tacos.
Okay, I mean,
but it's a start. She's a super picky eater.
Venison tacos, sprinkle that in there.
It's really good, super lean. I mean, it doesn't get any leaner.
That's awesome.
All natural. So she's just not very adventurous. She's a chicken strips and ranch type of girl. But that's the way my son used to be. And as he gets older, he's super adventurous. We pick out a venison meal to cook every week, usually on Sundays, in this little cookbook that Cody got me for Christmas, which is real neat. And Cameron's always, is it my turn? Is it my turn? So it's a neat little family thing that we get to do. And Madison obviously is always tacos, but
that's not a bad meal. I mean, honestly, in my desert island game, which actually same question, desert island game. Like there's three. If you had to eat three type of foods, one of my foods would be tacos. Like if you're on a desert island, you get to pick three type of foods. What would you pick?
Oh, geez. Well, I think Latino food, period. Can I just...
So you have to kind of, I agree. Like, yeah, you have to, you got to narrow it down a little bit more. Like
Okay.
You'd have to say, hey, tacos. Then you could choose any type of meat for those tacos.
I would do...
Or you could like pasta.
I would probably do tamales over tacos.
Okay.
Honestly, love tamales, especially a good tamale. Oh, God.
Yeah. Well,
It's a come to Jesus moment.
yes,
Boy, three foods. Probably steak.
Yep. So you know what you can do with steak? You can do all the different type of cuts. Yeah, like tacos, you can have any type of flavors of tacos, and then
I guess so. I'm limiting myself on tamales, but tamales are so good. Then
no, tamales would count because you could
handle
you
that.
could do whatever.
Steak and then probably pizza.
Yep, that's pretty much top three.
Even though cheese doesn't agree with me very well. Boy, I just outside looking in, barbecue ribs.
See, that's part of that. Yeah, I guess that you could. Yeah, you could. Then you'd have to say like barbecue would qualify. So you could have but only like basically like a barbecue menu almost. Like, see, I would go wings. Wings, I could have different flavor wings. I would do pizza and I would do tacos.
I'd probably do barbecue over pizza actually. If I can take all that, I'd probably do that.
You want steak and barbecue?
Steak, I'm a meat guy for
you're
sure.
Just gonna be
Yep. High cholesterol, heart attack at 50. Why not?
Listen, as long as you're getting that quality meat.
Yeah. No, I definitely. As I get older, especially, my goodness, you got to be careful of what you're putting in your body because you feel it the next morning so much, even in your joints.
Yes.
Everywhere.
The worst things, like stretching, is such a dumb thing. Not a dumb thing. It's the most important thing, obviously, in the world. But it's so crazy that like the amount of pain I was in, and all it came down to is like one stretch that I didn't do after I would, exercise or something stupid. And it was like, and I looked it up. I go, that is one stretch I don't do. I realized I was like, okay, that's why my hip, my back, my legs, everything. So now you wake up in the morning. I'm like, all right. I get out of bed like the arms up. I'm like, all right, man. I'm getting out of bed in pain. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna sneeze and throw my damn back out.
Been there.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, you hit the big 4-0, right?
Yeah.
That was a fun party though.
Yeah, it's a good time, even though I ruined the surprise. I couldn't keep my big mouth shut. Trying to invite Feather to our surprise party. Unbeknownst to me, I felt like such an idiot.
He's like, I'm already here in the basement? Oh, shit. So what's your biggest catch? Or your biggest, like you went hunting, what's your, I guess your greatest feat during hunting, I guess?
Boy. Last year, as far as the largest score on a deer, I shot a nice one in Cass County last year that was in the 140s.
I don't know what that means.
140 inches of antler.
Oh, okay. So is that how, like, they're older? Is it the bigger
It was
antler?
it was actually, it probably would have scored better earlier in his life. As they get older, they kind of start getting down and their antlers kind of get weird and misshapen. And that's the way this one was. It was real cool, real gnarly on one side. And I think it ended up being a 10 scoreable points. But I think 7 of them were on one side, and then there was just 3 on the other side. It was kind of that's the way they get when they're older and they get injuries, especially from fighting year after year after year. But the taxidermist estimated he was between 7.5 and 8.5, which is an old buck. Generally, the ones that are harvested are 2.5 to 3.5.
How long do they normally live?
About 8 to 10 years. 10 years is absolute max. That's an old deer. Usually about 8 is max. And they just don't have long lifespans. They just don't.
I remember they were calling for everybody to come out. They're like, hey, there's a big deer overpopulation. And
I think that's pretty much everywhere.
just the Midwest.
Yeah. There are very few hunters compared to what there used to be. And it's just a dying breed. And unfortunately, the deer populations are taking over. And when that happens, disease starts to spread. And then it'll wipe out an entire population of deer. CWD, EHD, it'll wipe them out.
So what do you mean? So they get something, so then it kills all the other deer?
Yes.
And then if somebody were to eat that, would that affect a human?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You
So
don't
is
want
that
to
what-
you don't want to eat an infected deer. You can tell generally.
Oh, okay.
But they generally will die before hunting hunting season even opens up from either of those diseases. It causes them to get real high temperatures, so you'll often find them near water because they'll just be hanging out in the water to try to lower the temperature, and then that's where they'll perish, unfortunately. But if the population is out of control, then it will tend to spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
But if you keep them in check, like hunters try to do, then that's when, they can thrive.
That's crazy, man. Like, I remember seeing just so many accidents. I remember my dad's buddy was driving a motorcycle, and a deer jumped and landed on him. He's riding his motorcycle, and it lands on him. Like, on his arms, on his lap, while he's on a motorcycle. And, of course, he wrecked and broke everything. But, yeah.
Yep, definitely hit one when I was 17 in a little Ford Escort
Oh,
GT.
wow.
Big buck, too, actually.
Wait, was that the Escort that had the manual or the automatic seatbelts?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That never worked.
Yeah.
They were stuck in the closed position for the last year and a half of that car's life. So you just had to get in and flip it over your chest. And,
It was, for
super
safety.
annoying. Oh, yeah. And then you'd forget about it. Like when you first got the car, you'd open the door and try to get out, and it catches you in the side of the face. Oh, yeah.
So what other meat? Because you made venison for us. Mm-hmm. Is that sausage was venison, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that stuff was.
That's real good.
Oh my
one
god,
of my favorites.
man! Because you had the links or whatever it was, and then you had the stuff that you put in the.
In the big casing.
the
summer sausage.
Yeah,
That's called, yeah.
Man, it was like so much. You could just feel like your blood slow down when you had so much of it.
There's some salt in there.
So you mentioned your daughter likes ranch. Do you have a seasoning? Are you a condiment guy?
Not really.
Hot sauce or
hot sauce would probably be the one condiment, or any sort of salsa, if that can be considered a condiment.
like your what? I always mess up the word, but what's the stuff you make?
The jardiniere.
There it is.
Okay,
I keep calling it Chardonnay. Everybody's like, nope, that's not what you're having.
That stuff's good, but I guess that's a condiment. Sure, that's great on a brat, hot dog, stuff like that.
I was like, I knew about relish, I knew about salsa, and then you guys kept saying, yeah, dude, it's like it's the Chardonnay. I'm like, I don't think. What am I doing? I think that's my favorite, dude. Ranch and hot sauce. So when you combine those two together,
Oh, yeah.
oh man. So see, I'm a Frank's Red Hot and a Hidden Valley. You put those two together, just the right mixing. It's fucking money. That's where I'm a dipper though. All right, so I do want to talk about one thing. This story you told me. Like, I've known you for, I don't know, like 12 years at this point. I'd never heard this story, and I love good stories. So you talked about your high school, we'll just say your high school journey.
My high school journey.
This story was, I loved it.
There's a lot of stories in high school, obviously, but the biggest one was the last semester of my senior year when I got expelled. through no fault of my own, unfortunately. Let's see, what it would have been year 2000. This is February of 2000. I missed the previous class, and they were taking a test on what they studied in that previous class. So me and two other kids had to sit out in the hallway. So me and these two kids are sitting out in the hallway, bored as hell, doing what we do. And another kid comes up this stairway. We were on the second floor at the high school that I attended.
Okay.
A kid that I was very much acquainted with, knew him very well. Mm-hmm. He said he was going into the bathroom, and he pulled a joint out of his ear and said, "I'm about to get after it."
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, no, I'm good. And one of the kids that we're sitting with was like, "Well, hell yeah, man." So they go in there, and this is like 10 minutes before class is going to end. The bell's going to ring, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, 2 minutes later, not even that, teacher pops his head out. "Hey, you guys can come back in." "Where's what's his name?" And I'll leave his name out, obviously. I'm like, oh, he had to go to the bathroom. So I tried to, salvage the situation. I walk over to the bathroom and open the door up, and he's standing 2 feet away from me, not even hiding in a stall, with that joint just pulling on it like it's his job. I'm like, "Hey, teacher wants us back in class," and just turn around and walk back in class. And me and the other kid, who stayed out there wisely, go back in class, and as soon as the other one comes back in, it just reeks like pot. Just reeks. You can see it on the teacher's face. You can see it on everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" Bell rings. Oh, Saved by the Bell. Get the hell out of here. And I bone out. Like, good to go. It wasn't me, Go to the next class, and this is where shit gets crazy. Mm-hmm. Last hour of the day, I just happened to have a substitute teacher that hour. That substitute teacher just happened to be the older sister of my best friend growing up.
Okay.
I mean, we have passed.
Yeah,
yeah. She sees me walk in the door, I'm like, "Oh shit." So, I mean, it's a sub, so we're watching a movie. Mm-hmm. And she pulls a desk up, I pull a desk up, and we're just sitting there bullshitting the whole hour while the rest of the class, just catching up on old times. And all of a sudden, she gets a phone call, walks over, and then she looks at me while she's on the phone call and kind of looks, okay, sure. Walks back to me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm supposed to escort you down to the office because of something that happened last hour." And I'm like, "What?" Oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And I mean, if it was anybody else,
you would have been escorted down.
I would have been escorted down to the office. Now, granted, I didn't do anything out in the hallway the hour before, but I wasn't exactly a stand-up kid.
Right. You had a dodgy past.
So I did have something on me that I had to get rid of. And I just happened to run into my buddy, James, on my way down to the office. I'm like, "Bro, I took my dugout and I hid it in the bathroom back there. Go get it for me. I'll meet you after school." Thought nothing else of it. Go down to the office. And I knew what I was down there for. I mean, It was clear. But I was innocent, So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I sit down, and the vice principal at the time, she was just looking at me with the dead eye. And the assistant vice principal was standing up next to her like some sort of backup or something. I don't know. But they were just giving me the grill eyes like, you know what you did. You know exactly what you did. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, playing as stupid as possible. And she's like, well, somebody smoked a joint in the bathroom. And I was like, yeah, I was sitting out in the hallway, but, you know, look at me, like, smell my breath. I don't have anything to smell my hands.
Yeah.
So they take me, they search through all my stuff, take me to my locker, which I hadn't used in months. And she opened it up, and I was like, oh, shit, there's where that coat is.
I knew I had those Skittles.
Yeah. Search through that, find nothing. Go out to my car, search through that, find nothing. Back into the office, open my backpack up, and they find a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, well, I'm 18. I can have those.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
She's like, well, yeah, but that's still an automatic 10-day suspension. I was like, all right, that's cool. 10-day vacation. I'm a senior.
I'll need
Good
more
to go.
smokes.
Then she starts looking through my wallet. I'm like, what are you doing? And I worked at Papa John's at the time. So there was just all kinds of dust from slapping dough on the make line or whatever. That's kind of a whole other story. She starts asking me what all the dust is, and I was a smart ass. I'd sprinkle cocaine in my wallet, and she didn't like that at all.
No. I don't find many people would.
So she starts like literally taking everything out of my wallet, and magically she comes up with a pack of zigzags, and I was like, oh, God damn it! I didn't know those were in there. I mean, they were old. So she went to pull one out, and they all stuck together. Like, that's how old they were. They were just, it was 1, 1.5 by 8-inch long paper for a big old doober if you wanted. But anyway, so I'm like, she's like, what are these? And I'm like, those are tobacco rolling papers. It says right on there. And she's like, I find that hard to believe since you have cigarettes. I was like, well, my dad smokes a pipe. Sometimes I steal his tobacco and roll that up, just trying to,
Yeah, anything you can.
Obviously, she was like, well, we'll just see how that plays out. I get the 10-day suspension, recommended expulsion for the papers. And 8 days later, I think, I'm home. I get a letter in the mail saying I missed my hearing date, which I never knew I had. And therefore I waive my rights to appeal, and I'm expelled. And that's how it happened.
What? No, but didn't you said you fought it, and I mean you got it or whatever. I was like,
no, I couldn't fight it. I could have fought it if I went to that hearing, but I didn't even know about the date of the hearing because they didn't tell me. That's the problem with that school is if they wanted you out, you were out. And I didn't care about school. I passed the classes I wanted to pass because I knew where I was going to be going after high school.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I was a fuck up in high school. I wanted to party. I wanted to have fun. I passed the classes I wanted to and didn't give a shit about the other ones. And looking back on that, it's a big regret.
I mean, like that story, it's crazy to me because like you lived a totally different high school experience than I did, dude. You wouldn't have even gotten detention for that. Like they used to lock up Adams. Don't get me wrong, there was some downside because there was some scary stuff happening at Adams, but you could pretty much get away with anything. Like I remember again, Craig Zion. So Craig Zion had went to Penn University. It's a high school.
Penn, I've heard of that.
It's almost a high school, but it's a university because of the amount of people. He said he goes, yeah, I used to go visit chicks that went to Adams. I just walk in the door, go hang out. He'd go hang out with them at lunch, and then he finally got caught, and he goes, nah, I think he said, no, I just ran. I go, yeah, that's what you do.
Who he's talking about, too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, dude, I used to have these, like, I had, like, I assume you probably did, like, woodworking.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So, same thing, I did radio, vocational radio class. It was outside, it was downtown. So I stole, because they can't expel me anymore, but I stole this whole pack of vocational radio classes. Like they were passes, like a whole book.
Nice.
Like taking a prescription pad from like your doctor. And if I gave it to anybody, they just signed their name on it. and they got to get out of class at 1:15 or no 12:15 and just done for the day. And because we had like at a point we had like cops, like actual cops.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like cops downstairs and by every door because of like drugs or whatever. But we would get to a point like the actual point where we had so many huge food fights in the downstairs cafeteria. They actually had actual police officers, like South Bend cops, by every single spot, like every door, because we would have like food fights. Like you just see like somebody would just pop a Tahitian treat. You'd see it fly in the air, and that meant it's go time. Like, dude, it was crazy. I used to my mom used to pack me like she thought I was super healthy, like all through like high school, like. She was like, oh, he wants radishes, and he wants like because they were good throwing,
yeah,
dude.
Hell yeah.
So you got to cock the underneath it, and man, me and Pat Austin, you know Pat. Mm-hmm. So dude, he was a lefty, and he was the most accurate person with anything he would throw. He would just, he would pinpoint people's like eye, hit him in the ear. He threw a piece of licorice rope, broke it off at a football game. Right, we're 7-8 rows above. He goes, swoop. It goes right in this girl's ear. She hits the deck. She goes, those vocational radio guys, I used to sell them for $20 a pop.
Wow.
You should be a little hustler in high school.
Yeah. I mean, this probably went like hotcakes too.
Oh, dude, all the time. These kids are like, wait, I just leave? Yeah, well, yeah, but don't be weird. I had to tell some of the kids, like, come here. You're being weird? No, you're going to get me caught. Look at me. Walk by me like you deserve, and you own this pass. Hi there, officer. Time for me to leave. No. Do it again. No, look, Brian.
We had a similar situation, but we just had a teacher that would write us those passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Craig Zion. That was his homeroom teacher.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you needed to go, just walk to him. Oh, okay, yeah. He'll write you a pass to go out to your car, and then you just get in your car and leave.
Man, it was like high school was fun. I mean, I did like the radio was fun because it was something I really wanted to do. I liked it, which hence kind of why I'm doing this. But man, school was. I remember when I transitioned into college was the worst. When I had a teacher tell me I wasn't going to pass his class because of attendance. I was like, man, I worked like a lot of hours. Like I was commissioned at Circuit City at the time, so I was working like 40 hours, but I was working like 16 hours. Man, he's like, yeah, I can't pass you. I go, did I pass the test? All right, cool. Then I'm like, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm paying you. Like, I know because I'm getting the damn bill. Like, I'm paying you. Some days I'm not going to be here. And also, fix your fucking parking lot. 8 o'clock class, fuck, they should just put a warning. Put a big red thing right across. If you go to IUSB at 8:30 a.m., you will not find parking. Like, I left my hazards on one day for like 20 minutes just so I could go into class and be seen. I don't teach. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I got the scoots. Go out there and move. So you did woodworking in high school then?
Yeah, all 4 years.
Now, were you into it before that?
Oh, yeah.
So was your dad into it?
I'm a third-generation carpenter. His dad he was more of a framer. He did some interior work, and then, my dad was always into some sort of carpentry. He worked on steel buildings when I was a young kid, where he would be, 120 feet off the ground, walking on an 8-inch I-beam, waving at us. I was too young then, but my mom always tells me stories about she would damn near pass out when she would go to drop his lunch off and see him up there waving down.
Just throw it out, babe.
Just not for me.
That was in this area, or?
I think that might have been in Iowa.
So how old were you when you came here?
I was.
And you went from Iowa to Indiana. Good Lord.
Yeah, born in Iowa.
Ohio next.
Born in Iowa, Comanche, Iowa, small town on the Mississippi River. Actually, that house that I was born in was destroyed when the Mississippi flooded back in the 90s, whenever they had floods all the time, but there was a real nasty one back in the 90s. But yeah, we moved here. That's where my mom's family was originally from, Iowa. And my dad and mom met at, I believe, a church function at the weird church that they were in. And that's how they met. And then my dad's family is from Indiana. That's how we ended up back here.
Nice. Because first, I mean, I hope people look at the pictures. Like, I wish I could show some of the stuff that you've done. It's bananas. Which also I have to say for Allison, man, I got dibs, which she didn't agree on, but that's fine. Of naming the baby, we got to get that bar in Brad's done. Though.
Oh yeah.
This summer we got to make it a plan.
Yeah.
I've
been meaning, Bradley. I know you're listening. Free of charge, brother. I will get that bar done for you. Just get the materials. A weekend, we got it.
Okay, so Brad, since you won't do any of that, I already wrote it down.
Allison, even though you're pregnant.
Allison, take my truck. Go gather the stuff. But no, man, like just you went over there in a day and you made a garage, the doors that they have at the garage. He's like, oh yeah, Chase just banged that out. I'm like, that's not something you just bang out. Like your carpentry level's like it's bananas.
That was a pretty easy one, but I mean, just because of the style, the way that the garage was, there was no real invasive work. We had to cut a hole in the side, put a header in, and throw the doors in. It was, if you know what you're doing, that was an easy one.
So basically, for people that listen like this, these cats, our friends have a garage in the backyard. The garage is, you pull in from the alley, so the backside of the garage is just sitting there, nothing. And they have a patio right there. So in like a day, few hours, whatever, he busts a hole in this garage, puts in 2 doors. It's awesome now. But yeah, so I had to make sure I have to make sure I say that yes, Allison, I have to help make this happen. I don't know how I got tossed in here.
We got you, Al.
I said if I do it, I should get to name the baby's middle name. Somebody's got to name one of their fucking kids Danger as a middle name soon, okay? Because Craig almost had Danger.
Oh, Ronnie.
Man, if I found out I had a kid, I'd be like, yeah, give me Danger for sure. Somebody's got to
Danger?
Do it. Oh, for sure. Danger's my middle name. I'm so bad with first of kids' names and the ages. So your daughter's 10 and...
Cameron is 14.
Wow, 14.
Yeah. He's going to be a freshman next year.
He's going to be driving soon.
Yeah, he's going to be going to that school that I got expelled from.
Dang, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's going to be driving soon. He's got that teenager attitude that we all strive to avoid as adults. But yeah, he's a good kid. Love that boy. He's such a sweet boy.
So is he mommy or daddy's boy? Like, who's he more like?
Oh, he's probably more like his mom.
His wife's awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Cody.
Yeah, Cody. We all love
you, baby. But yeah, he's just super sweet, very sensitive. Loves gaming, loves computers. Super smart. Like, blows me away how smart he is. Just, I mean, ever since he could start learning stuff, it's just, that kid is so damn smart. It scares me.
That's awesome, because that's the way the whole world's going to be computers, man.
Yeah.
So is your daughter, is she more outdoorsy? I mean, because I think every girl's a daddy's girl in a certain way, but like, she sounds like she's a little bit more outdoorsy.
Yeah, I mean, she is, but she isn't. She's big into anime, which is cute. But yeah, she loves the outdoors. She's sporty. She's fast. Can't wait to get her in some track. She's got some track things that she's going to do this summer. And she's big. She's, I'm pretty sure, the tallest in her class. She's definitely got more of her daddy's. It's weird to, I don't feel 6'2", if that makes any sense.
But your lower back does.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I'll look at somebody else's 6'2", I'm like, oh, he's taller than me. And no, it's just, it's that eye sight line. That's what it is. You know, your eyes think that's your height. Oh, yeah. When really you're 3'4", if you're Peyton Manning, 8 inches taller. Yeah,
it's weird, man. Like, because I can go from being like 5'11" to 6'1", 6'2", depending on if I have good posture that day or not. And the answer is always no.
No.
The answer is always like I have way too much bad food in my belly and booze. It's pulling that area down, which, you know, and then I'll work out like shoulders. I just become like a weird, like the upside down, like bowling pin. It's weird getting old, man. Like the dentist was such a fucking trip, man. You know, they tried to say, when it was all said and done, they were like, well, you know, we'll probably about 12 to 16 grand. Mm. I'm like, so first I'm going to stop you because you just jumped. Who does that?
$4,000
Yeah, I'm like, is that how your budget works? Because I don't have a budget that jumps. Like, I was swollen in the face, right? Like, I just had a root canal done.
That's the worst.
And I'm supposed to call him And like, because they always send you to like a specialist. It's like a specialist will have a specialist that specializes in what the specialist doesn't specialize in.
Mm-hmm. But you got to get recommended by your doctor in order for the insurance to cover it.
Because it's not specialized.
No.
But it was, and you know, not being, not having a job, my insurance actually doesn't exist. So, you know, I had to go in a cash discount. So like, oh, well, you're going to want to have everything done same time. So you get this big bulk discount. Like, and, but like, I was like swollen in the face. And like, she's like, are you ready on Monday? We'll come in. We'll do this, this, this. So adding all this stuff together. I'm like, I can't even, because when your mouth's swollen, like all of your F's, right? And like other letters come out and they flap. I was like, well, first of all, like it was just flapping all over the place. And I'm trying to be professional, right? But I'm in a lot of pain because I'm still swollen from like, they just did whatever they did to the canals of my root. And she's like, so are you all set then? You ready? You can bring that amount of cash in? I go, you didn't even tell me what it was. You just gave me a $4,000 gap. I mean, I don't even think I could tell my bank that. My dentist wants me to take out 12 to 16 grand. So 4,000, like, what's 4,000? She's like, well, we have to change gloves.
That's whether if you want a good job or an okay job.
What do you talk about the story when you guys were driving back and listening to music with your kids? I think it was the Metallica.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's back to, you know, my boy being a super sweet, sensitive kid. Yeah. We're driving home. I think it was from my parents' house one night. I'm not even sure if Madison was born. She might have been newborn in her baby seat still, so she couldn't, you know.
He would have been how old though?
She's a brivia. He was probably about 5.
Okay, I got you.
So we're driving home from my parents' house. You know, I'm rocking out to The Bear probably. Mm-hmm. And it's dark. Time for bed. The 5-year-old's nodding off to sleep back there. The Madison's probably already been passed out since we left. And Metallica, Enter Sandman comes on. And that's one of my favorite, you know, it's just a great song to rock out. You get after it when that comes on. So I turn it up, and the speakers in my truck, I never realized, they're a lot louder in the back than in the front. So I didn't have it too loud, but it was pretty loud, and it's probably blowing my 5-year-old's ears out.
It is not a quiet song.
It gets to that, sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. I just hear from the back seat, Dad, is this a song I should be listening to before bed? Oh my God. Cody and I just look at each other and we're like, oh, we're horrible parents, aren't we?
She turned it down. She said, hey, when it comes on, you got to get it.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. It's just a song, buddy. It's okay. He's just talking about going to sleep, you know. Hold your pillow tight. Oh, yeah. That's one of those moments where you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea for the 5-year-old.
We'll throw that back in there on the bad idea train. I look at myself, man. I was such a I was just a kid I was always into shit, like because I don't have a sense of smell, so they used to put stink bombs under me in school.
Oh God!
And I just sit there going, I'm sorry, I don't know what I ate, and I couldn't really get in trouble for it, but like my parents knew what I was doing. They were like, look, you little dumb. I swear to God, like, I can't be leaving work to come down here. I'm like, well, am I in trouble? I didn't really do anything. I was always like right on that line.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because you got to think, man, me and I don't know, you probably meet a lot of other cats who went to, but like me and Pat.
I know Pat.
Man, he's one of my best friends from the longest time, and we just get into shit when we get together. Like a couple of years ago we're at the South Bend Cubs game, right? And for some reason, again, if you want to talk about somebody's got some accurate ass, Pat's the most accurate cat in the world. Like, hey, zombie apocalypse comes, he's in because he can just throw stuff. So we're like, 11 rows up, and we see our buddy, Ryan. Let's say he's in the front row. Well, there is a row behind our buddy. So we're trying to throw peanuts and hit our buddy. So I throw one, right? And it lands in the guy right behind our buddy, right in the bean of his hat. You know what I'm saying? The little nubbin up top. Nice. hits him right in it. So I'm trying to keep, I'm like, oh. So I look away, I'm like everything's fine. He's like, look, everything's fine. So Pat goes to throw one, dude. He hits him right in the middle of the same spot, dude.
Nice.
I spit my beer in front of all the people in the row in front of me. Dude, I'm dying. I look over and all I see is Pat, just a tear coming down the side of his face. Dude, it was the funniest shit in the world. There was a gang fight. Me and Pat hid under the bus. Dog Life came in. No, the G's came in. Some dude literally had like some type of gun that shot a lot of bullets. Okay, you know what they call that? I'd say I think Nelly calls it a street sweeper. Okay? He wasn't shooting it, but he had like literally this guy out top of a car, like pulled up, and it was like Dog Life versus GD or something, and like they were just running. And I was like, well, we're gonna go under here. We just hit under a school bus. Even the bus driver was like, nope, you guys stay out there. It was crazy.
That's fucked up because we always heard about, you know, the G's and the Vice Lords and we never saw any of that shit.
Yeah,
it's just,
and when it happens, it's a real thing.
You're talking about a 10-mile difference.
It was, and it's bananas because it just happened. Like we're just walking out, me and Pat, we're just walking out there with our backpacks on, and you just see like cars come up and like just pulling up, and just tons of people come out, and then the other people running in from inside the school out, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Just tag? They're both wearing different colors. Like I was like,
That's wild.
It was crazy. It was a weird thing. Yeah, it was just weird. Like nobody prepares you for that type of stuff. So how many siblings do you have?
Five. 4 that are alive and 1 that passed.
And you said your brother is...
He is...
The youngest?
Gosh. Yeah, he's the youngest. I still feel like he's just the little one. It's so weird because I just always saw him as just the little run of the family, and now he's got 3 kids and married and running his own business as well. Shout out Homestead Painting. Little shout out
nice.
there. That's super proud of him. He's a good dude.
Now, so he was...
my oldest is Kara. Then we have middle sister Megan, and then Leslie, who was the one that passed when she was young in a car accident. And that's a crazy story too.
If you're comfortable talking about
sure.
it, yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to,
It's, I was young.
How old were you at the time?
It was right after we moved here from Iowa. We were in the gray house, which is what it's called in our family. I don't know.
I don't know what that means either. You're looking at me like I know. I was like, it's a light beige.
I believe it's the house that my parents were renting first when we moved here from Iowa.
Gotcha.
And I believe that was where Leslie was born. We were all birthed by my father, which is another weird story.
Yeah, we're going to have to circle back to that.
Yeah, we're going to have to circle back to that.
You can't say birthed by my father and then a weird story right back to back, because it makes me think that your dad had you in his stomach.
No. Certainly my mom had all of us.
Well, I just
and there were midwives present, but our early years, my parents were a part of a religious cult, I'll say, in a loose term, that didn't believe in hospitals.
Okay. So wow, so you're like a bathtub or on the floor? I don't understand what happens at home. I don't know.
Probably in the bed, I'm assuming. I don't know that. I just know that he was present with midwives from the church, and he helped in birthing all 5 of us. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that probably saved quite a bit of money.
Sure.
Okay, I feel like you might have different opinions. I was trying to find that silver lining.
We can certainly get into it, but that was a weird part of our life that in the death of my sister got us away from that cult, thankfully. And thankfully to my dad. I mean, he pulled us out of that nightmare. In that accident, and this is getting serious, but I mean, these are stories that need to be told because it shows you how crazy shit can get.
Yeah.
My mom was with her best friend and her best friend's newborn, and my mom's newborn. Leslie was 8 weeks old, I believe. 8 weeks or 8 months. I'm sorry, Mom, if I'm getting that wrong. Young.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the car coming back from the store. We had family in town, and they were getting some stuff for dinner or something like that. They were going to pass a two-way stop road where there was a hill, and they must have been kind of meandering across the road. Somebody was just on the other side of the hill, and he was going at estimated 120 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
And split the car in half. Killed everybody but my mom.
So your
my
sister and her sister.
my mom's best friend, and her newborn.
Oh man.
My sister was actually found ejected from the car. Jeez. Underneath a tree. The kid was 19 years old, suspected drunk, but this was in probably 84. So
they didn't look into it, or probably just not the
same as it is now.
Yeah, they didn't quite.
He went to the hospital. I think he had like a broken leg. My mom was in traction, collapsed lung, multiple broken bones, intensive care, and the pastor of that church wanted to take her off life support because the Lord was going to heal her.
Jesus.
And my dad, and thank God for him, thank whatever you believe in for him.
Yeah.
He told him to go fuck himself, basically. Said, I'm not losing another. I lost my daughter today. She will die if we take her off life support. And he was right. She was on life support for 2 weeks. And came out of it. And that was the what come to Jesus moment, if you wanted to call it that. Yeah. Where my dad's like, okay, this place is insane.
So how did he get to this? How did that all start? Did it start in Iowa, or start when you guys moved here?
I don't know that 100%. I think, the Faith Assembly was the name of the church. Google it. Hobart Freeman was the leader. Google him. They were they took the Bible teachings and went way too literal with it, and didn't believe in. They believed in the power of the Lord would heal all, and if you prayed enough and believed enough, you didn't need modern medicine.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of lawsuits later in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Caused a lot of family heartache. I mean, my goodness. There's some pretty tragic stories. I mean, that's just one. And really, I mean, that's an accident. Obviously, it's terrible. You lost 3 lives.
You could have lost 4.
Yeah, could have. But there are stories from that church that, I mean, babies born that could have survived, and it's tragic. I can't. It's going to bring this podcast. This is a comedy podcast. I don't want to get that.
No. Hey, this is a serious problem. Honestly, everybody has things, man.
Yeah, there's some pretty tragic stuff, and if you want to look into that history, I'm not going to read about that stuff because that tells you how dangerous some of those things can get.
So what do you remember about? Because you were pretty young at that time.
I was very young. I don't remember
a
lot. That day that my sister was killed, I do remember bits and pieces. And that was some of the first memories, probably the first memories I ever had. I probably was only 2.5 or 3.
Yeah.
And, they say that, you generally don't develop memories until you're about 4 or 5, unless it's something seriously traumatic. And it's only a brief moment that I remember. I remember my aunt and uncle coming to pick all of us up and taking us somewhere. And I just remember the atmosphere being weird, like something serious happened, but and that's all I remember of it. I did years later, my oldest sister, she was old enough to remember that, and she actually saved some articles from the newspaper, picture of the car, various things and obits and stuff from people that did pass. And that was pretty sobering.
Yeah.
Goosebump moments when you're reading through stuff like that. I mean, it was 100% a cult. Like,
is somebody stopping you from your ability?
There's nobody stopping you from leaving, but the beliefs and the teachings and stuff were crazy. There were times where, like, if there was a stillborn birth or a child that died in infancy, they would bring that child and put it on the altar and pray to try to bring it back to life. And
now,
that is not a joke.
But if that person were to have had that happen in a hospital, would there have been a chance that baby would have been able to?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Go into the ICU and get the care needed. Yeah. Modern medicine. There's a reason why it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why the church folded. I mean, the Hobart Freeman died of gangrene. There you go.
Laugh, but you know what? Hey, that's karma. That's 100%.
Yeah. He died of gangrene through, I believe, the feet from diabetes, type 2, I believe, which is perfectly preventable and curable. Not curable, but manageable.
These fucking drinks are
that's
amazing.
that Spring Mill bourbon.
It's got, I bumped the mic too. We're just beating the shit out of these things. Man, what's different? This one has, I feel like the citrus thing you were talking is something is more.
The only difference is the bourbon in this one. And that's the Spring Mill bourbon. It's 8 years aged.
I can explain this on a tongue. I don't know, because I have no sense of smell, so I'm trying. It's like
definitely got a
very citrusy. Is that what I'm. That's good, man.
It is really good.
I like that. These are dangerous, man. If I made these and I had that fog machine, there'd be a fire in my kitchen. And...
bourbon, I think it's the original recipe from the Spring Mill settlers in southern Indiana, which my mother-in-law's descendants, or she's a descendant from those people. My mother-in-law, the first, I believe, English settlers in southern Indiana, the Hamers, which is a pretty cool story.
And that's their first. So you're saying that
this is supposedly the recipe from the bourbon that they used to make on site down there. And there's actually Spring Mill Park, which is a state park down there. It's really beautiful. Southern Indiana, there's a lot of limestone and stuff like that. It's gorgeous down there. It doesn't even look like Indiana.
Yeah.
And then they've got a graveyard for the descendants where my wife's grandfather and grandmother are buried, and their parents are buried, and several descendants of that family. It's just neat to see the history behind it.
You ever do the ancestry.org /
Cody's big into that. The wifey's big into that.
So what'd she find out? She's pretty
traced
white.
her family lineage way back to the actually type? What's funny is both our families are connected back to Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Back in that, who knows what year, but she found that that our family crest and her family crest were kind of like joined together and partners.
Like one incest?
Yeah. Kind of like their clans were
there
united.
There you go. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
What's Game of Thrones.
There
we go.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if they were to go to war, or somebody were they would be united and fight alongside each other, type of thing.
So you got deep enough to look up your family crest and shit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially on my dad's side, the Taylor side, we've got, it's kind of bland. It's a green background with like a goblet. So evidently we were just big drunks.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, you spent more time getting hammered than actually drawing up your shit.
Cody's family's crest is really cool, though. It's
dragons fighting crime.
Yeah,
and
it's like a griffin swooping down and
Yours is just
murdering, and then taking a drink from our family's goblet or
yours
something.
Yours is just a little John goblet.
Yeah.
So, dude, let's talk about golf, man. Because here's my thing. So, I got to do it. If I want to have friends, I got to start swinging the club.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I got to find new friends. So what? So the Masters, man. So did you watch any of Tiger? What do you think?
Definitely, Masters is my favorite tournament by far. It's such a gorgeous course. It's
I don't mean to interrupt. Now that you have an iPhone, download the Masters fucking ringtone as your alarm clock. You wake up in the morning, ding, ding, ding. You're floating on a fucking cloud. Just fun fact, people, if you're listening and you like golf.
Never even thought about that.
Oh, it's so... I texted... You know, Sexton was there Tuesday, Wednesday. He was down there Tuesday, Wednesday. And two things. They're fucking pumping bird sounds.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's constant. Because there's no way that one fucking bird the whole time... Skip, 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 skip. Skip, 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 skip. Normally I can nap to golf. I was like, dude, that one bird, the same fucking noise.
That's a bucket list course. Like, I definitely want to be able to just walk it. I'm never going to be able to play it. I would play it if I had the opportunity. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just would. You would
eat my lunch, but I don't care.
They would tell you, no, are you going to hit into the sand? And you look at every hole, or are you going to hit in the sand or water? Yes, then you can't play. That's why you can't play here.
Play from the senior tees and still shoot 110.
I'm not flexible enough to get past, like, I get to like about 60%, and then I have to bend my elbow and I lose all control. So like a 50% swing.
Yeah.
It's like you know those old cats, like the old dudes. They get up there, they drive the ball 150 straight.
Mm-hmm. Right down
the
middle.
They're 3-wood 150 straight. Everything is just, real, so that's where I'm at. But I want to kill the ball sometimes.
You can still score real well shooting it right down the middle.
I
like
know
those
I
old
fucking
guys.
can't. Chase, listen, you're not supposed to say what I want, the right answer. You're supposed to tell me, let the big dog eat. But when it's so boring to be like, I'm not a small shaped person either. So when like everything in me goes like, and especially when you practice, my practice swing's perfect. Then I get up there and something in my heart goes, do it. Like somebody just... When did you start playing golf? Because you're good. You have it because your swing says you golf for a long time.
My grandfather, Grandpa Mac, was a scratch golfer, meaning 0 handicap. If you know what that means, it means he would shoot par pretty much every time he would play. Sometimes under par, sometimes a little bit over par, but the average, what a handicap is, means about par. Scratch golfer. So it was in the family. His son, my Uncle Mel, has his PGA, he doesn't anymore because he's in the 60s, but he had his PGA Tour card.
Oh, shit, okay.
So what that means is he wasn't on the tour, but he was good enough.
He could play any tour course?
He was able to go to any course and be a PGA, what they call PGA professional. So you can teach people
how to
play.
I got you. Okay, I know what you mean.
He was a good golfer.
I would imagine so, yeah.
It was in his blood, and just my Grandpa Mac was a fantastic athlete. I think he still owns the home run record for the high school that he went to back in the 1940s or whatever the hell he went to.
Jeez.
But he was just a fantastic athlete. His son obviously got those genes, and then he became a great golfer. He was pretty good. I mean, real good. But then his son, my cousin, Matt, was really good. But he was really good in high school. He was nationally ranked. He went to Iowa in college and was also nationally ranked. And then he got sick. And the medication that he was put on caused him to gain a fair amount of weight, which kind of changed the swing. And just to be a pro, which is what his path was, like he was going to be a pro. You've got to be top 1% of the 1%. It's just, so if something changes your body shape or it's a struggle for you. So
sucks,
he's
man.
still a fantastic golfer. still a fantastic. He lives in Arizona now and
Yep.
is a greenskeeper for a really nice golf course, actually, that my Uncle Mel works too. So they're kind of working together, so which is really neat. That gene or whatever it takes is in our family. So, and on top of that, being able to learn a swing at an early age from my grandpa and my uncle, it really helps. Like you don't learn,
swing.
you don't learn bad habits straight ahead or straight off the bat. So you're able to develop a good swing to move on. And then I think I was 14 when I started playing in a league with my dad. Played in that league for 5 or 6 years until the course. Well, no, I played in that, and then I got like 18 or 19, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go out and party.
Yeah, you found that weed.
Dad, this was fun and all, but
you said, "Oh, that you can't
want to party with my buddies."
Right.
So, I went out, lost the game for a while, which is unfortunate. I wish I hadn't, because I was pretty good back then.
Yeah, but your swing still now is so like...
It's still there. It's like riding a bike. If you learn something early and get that muscle memory, then you're not going to deviate too far from that when you try to pick it up. And then as long as you're not, being stupid and trying to remember the same lessons that you had, then you're in a good shape. But you also got to kind of have ability as well.
Yeah, you have to. Well, hand-eye coordination comes in. Like, 'cause there's certain people that just won't learn.
Yeah.
Like me, like biking. Like I was like biking and basketball were the two sports that I used to love biking. Like just like biking, like BMX biking, not doing like tricks and shit, but I was always biking. And even now, mountain biking, road biking. Like I love that, and I love basketball. But I never played any recreational sports like for a team. Never. Pick up basketball was about it. Like just street basketball. I didn't know the actual rules or anything like that. And my dad did. He did indoor soccer and softball, and he did bowling. I did pick up bowling, but the first two, nah. Indoor soccer, I was like, so you're saying running around a lot? No. I was a very, again, thicker cat. Okay, shopping for Husky jeans. You're not running up and down anywhere. And baseball just never was a thing. And golf, I picked up golf when I bought Played Again Sports. Bought a wooden driver made by Knight. Which I then moved up. I love Knight. Knight was my boy from Dunham's, dude. I don't know if they sold it, but Knight.
I remember those. Yeah,
dude, like $70. You get a whole set. I was like, I'm going golfing now. I'm getting rid of this wooden driver. Me and Pat, we literally would just have like one club we bought from like Play It Again. We'd go and hit it off asphalt. We're trying to figure it. But man, it's like nowadays, like what I like about golf, which is the same thing I like about disc golf. I like sceneries. When we went on Brad's bachelor party, that
course was gorgeous.
You cannot describe, and even you can go on YouTube and find that hole, the one way up.
Yeah. I still have a video on my phone from that.
And when you look at that video, did not do it justice.
No.
You cannot look at a video and understand how far down it was. And I'm looking at you guys with your clubs you're picking. I'm like, what does this mean? That's so far away, and I'm like, but it's
Hitting
not.
An 8-iron, and I went over the green,
dude. And I used my driver,
like 180 yards.
I used my driver and tried to slice it back around, but this one time it didn't slice. I go, I'll meet you guys down there. No, me and Craig talked about taking like a day road trip, and let's go hit some of these cool disc golf courses. The views are cool. You can get to Louisville in 4 hours, and there's a bunch right by there.
Yeah.
Because you get that way, and you start getting into a little bit more mountain areas. It's not like the deep into mountains, but
gorgeous down there. It's
Cool
unbelievable
with that,
the difference in the terrain from northern Indiana to southern Indiana and Kentucky and Tennessee. It's
crazy how close it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the place that my wife's family used to have down in southern Indiana, 4.5 hour drive. We'd leave after work on Friday. Get down late Friday night, stay the weekend, come back Sunday night, and it's like in another world. Just gorgeous. Private lake down there, and limestone cliffs.
Is this the one you guys stopped?
Cliffs.
You stopped at? On
Yeah,
the way to Brad's?
yeah.
Okay.
Craig's been there.
Yeah.
Craig and James, my buddy James,
say
has
it.
been there. Craig's Island.
There it goes. Talking about golf, you ever get a hole one?
Yes.
Oh shit!
Yes,
okay,
I
just
have.
one?
Just one.
Okay, because if you'd have said like 3, I'm done.
Well,
hey, thanks for the KQ show. He's fucking lying.
My uncle, I think, has 8.
Well, you said PGA though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so right away, done.
He's
done.
playing all the
right,
time.
Done. If you've played, yeah.
I
So
think
how'd yours?
My cousin Matt, he's got 3 or 4, but I've got one documented, like thoroughly. I was having a horrible round.
Yeah.
It was in league play, thankfully.
And how old were you?
I was 24. No, I was 25. It was the spring before I got married.
Okay.
So, it was in league play. Par
did
3,
you at that
obviously.
time? Did you at the time? Did you have the phone then?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
See if you had that
the
phone
legendary clip phone on the belt. God.
While you're swinging. Hang on, guys. I got to stop.
No, I definitely did not have.
But at your wedding, yes.
Yeah,
not while you're golfing.
It's always good about leaving that in my truck when I'm golfing. But
You're
at
that
the
Cody?
wedding, no.
At the
That's
wedding.
got to be on my side.
At the wedding in that picture.
Oh, God.
Not the left side. First off, for people that don't know, like he has his wedding picture. It's a beautiful picture. Him
Me
and
and
his
my
wife.
wife cutting the cake.
And he just got this big Motorola like StarTech 250 belt clip on his hip, and it's taking precedence of the whole photo. You're never
Such
gonna let
a
that
beautiful picture of me and my wife cutting that cake.
I'm gonna get that professionally photoshopped out.
My worker Ashton, he's pretty good at Photoshop, and he did it for me and sent me the picture. So that's the one thing that I would, because I've always wanted to get that Photoshop, to get that stupid flip phone off of my belt. But I've always been worried that somebody's going to like replace my head with the flip phone.
Dude, that's what I know is going to happen because it's such a focal part of that picture.
And there's a story behind that, is because I'm not that guy. I'm not that phone on the hip guy. Like I'm the opposite of that guy.
Right.
But I had a couple of friends that were struggling to find the venue because it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to leave my phone on me. Shoot me a text or call me if you're struggling. And then I just completely forgot to take it
I'm going to leave it right here.
I'm just going to leave
it clipped right here.
And then on our first dance, and when we're cutting the cake, it's just going to be staring you right in the face.
Dude, and you know us and your dickhead friends.
So
like,
gross.
there's no way looking at that picture right when I go, oh, man, should I say something? Hey, is anybody else not making fun of this picture? And it pops up on my time hop every year.
Every year.
It's so good. Oh, I love it. I don't even know what we were talking about. I'm sorry. I just had to. I remember the belt clip.
It's perfect. I get it. It's fantastic. It should be a meme.
And it's
so
funny because
good.
it's only in like the most important picture of you and your wife.
Our most beautiful picture we've ever taken.
It wasn't like a random.
Stupid cell
It wasn't
phone
even
on
at
my
the
belt.
altar. There's a bunch of those pictures. Nope, the one picture of cutting the cake.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is crazy. How old were you when you had your first kid?
25, I think.
What's one thing you can say to somebody that's a new parent?
Oh gosh, patience.
No, what is it? What is it that you're trying to say?
Just patience. Like you just have patience. I don't know how else.
I mean, how?
Just,
like what? Like example.
Your kid's gonna drive you insane, and you just gotta be good with it. They're gonna drive you nuts. They're not going to do what you want. They're not going to listen to you. If they do listen to you, something's wrong.
So that means the other one's getting into something.
If you hear silence, that's the number one. That's like that tornado alarm. If you're home and the kids are and then all of a sudden nothing, you got to get up and you better go check on them. Because they're into something and they don't want you to know about it.
They just got a turtle upside down in the kitchen.
They're dumping out flour all over the floor.
Look, we made snow angels.
Yeah. Peanut butter all over the face. Why? It just, you never know. That's the wonder of children.
That's the wonder. mean,
We're going to surprise you every damn day.
That's a great anti-pregnancy campaign you just put out there.
Oh, but they're fantastic. That's a big thing with children is you got to allow them their own autonomy. Allow them to make their own mistakes so they can learn from them. You can't helicopter over them. You can't. You want to. My God, you want to. Because you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you made. But at the same time, if they don't make those mistakes, they don't learn from those mistakes. And as painful as that is for you as a parent to watch them make those mistakes, they have to make them. Because those lessons are the most important lessons that you can learn. We're all still learning.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine so, because you've never had a kid that's this age. And the next year, it's a new age.
Yeah. And he's going to be in high school next year, and that's going to be... Yeah, we learned, but even now, high school now, way different than when we were in high school.
Man, my dad would just tell me he was a custodian at a middle school, and the shit he heard these kids talk about, like the crazy shit, like, could you imagine sending a nude picture as an 11-year-old to somebody else? Man, I was trying to get a computer that could download a nude picture fast enough. You know what I'm saying? That 56K. I'm like, oh, hang on, I got her bangs. Give me 12 more minutes. Mom, get off the phone.
Hell no.
You kicked me off the internet. Mom, I only got half a nip. But it's crazy, man, to think about just the difference in that. Man, I'll tell you what, one thing I am really happy about. We got to be around the start of all technology, which is pretty badass. So we got to watch it go from being shitty to something better. I mean, I spent, 6 years of elementary school being told my entire life that you'll never have something at your fingertips to know all the answers. Man, I remember fucking MapQuest, dude. Going to, like, the beach, like a different beach. Be like, hang on, man. Flipping through pages of MapQuest.
I was always the navigator. That was the one thing that I had growing up with a bunch of siblings. We'd go on road trips. I was the only one that knew how to read a map. So I got front seat.
Yeah, shotgun. Hey, that's navigator. Now it's DJ.
Yep.
It went from navigator to DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now it's DJ for
Control
sure.
the music, too.
Dude, if it's a long trip and you're riding shotgun and you're just going to go to sleep, that's a rule. Long trip? No. Shotgun guy can't just
Bring
sleep.
out that mixtape. We got chickens.
So out of the blue, you just say, we got chickens. So
back to the original thought of us being self-sustained and all that, and worried about what's going into our bodies. We are raising chickens.
Nice.
In the city. Well, in the county. We got 3/4 of an acre. So not that much land, so it can be done, folks, out there on small plots of land. We have 10 egg layers, and we are planning on raising 10 meat birds and a chicken tractor.
Cool.
And what?
I don't know what that last one is.
Yeah, that's a weird one. A weird one. A chicken tractor is something that take your small birds, you raise them in your brooder, which is in a warm area underneath a light. You've seen stuff like that. Once they are feathered out after about 3 weeks, you can put them out in a pasture, I guess is what you call it. But a chicken tractor is basically a chicken needs like 1 square foot to exist. And that's caged birds, which is awful. But
are you saying you're running a cage-free setup?
Yeah, basically we're running a cage-free setup in our county property. Like, we've got you make just a small little cage about 2 feet high, and however many chickens you have in there, you give them at least 2 square feet. You know. So we've got about a 5 foot by 3 foot area, 15 square feet on the inside, where 10 birds can meander around, eat.
Okay.
And they've got free running all the way around, and every day you move that tractor, it's called, chicken tractor. It's basically just a cage. But you move that cage however many feet you need in order to get it on fresh grass. So they've got fresh grass, fresh bugs to pick at, grass and stuff to scratch at. And then you obviously always have them fresh feed and water. And then every day you move it again, so they're on fresh land. And if you've got a 2/3 or 3/4 of an acre, you got plenty of grass that throughout a week, that grass that they were on before is going to replenish. It's got fantastic fertilizer from those chickens. And they're eating all the nasty bugs and stuff from your backyard. They're getting their nutrients they need. And it's free-range chicken. And in 8 weeks, literally 8 weeks is all it takes for them to get to butcher. You can either take them off to a butcher shop or you can do it yourself, which is probably what we're going to do because we're used to that sort of stuff and it's cheaper. And
I mean, so your kids aren't getting like attached to them or anything, like naming them.
The egg layers for sure, they all have names.
But did the egg layer eventually stop eating legs and you got to eat them?
Yeah, but that's they're 3 years old or something. And
so you could toss it
yeah.
down the road. Well, I just meant they're young now. It'd be tough for them to go, oh my God, are we eating Ronald?
Yeah, but what you do is you integrate new birds in as you're going to take the ones out because they only have so many eggs. They're going to lay 280 to 300 eggs in their lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got 10 birds. Think about that. That's 4,000 eggs.
I went to Adams, so that's almost 600 eggs. Wow, that's bananas. So so Walking Dead kind of theory is kind of right. You want to keep the birds fornicating. You want to keep production a little bit. Wouldn't you want to keep
if you're planning on hatching eggs, sure. Then you need a rooster. If you're in the city, you can't have a rooster because they're too loud.
They can't. They've got nothing they can cut at this point with technology. Stop the rooster from getting loud and rowdy.
That's kind of inhumane.
Is that so? That's probably the worst thing I could have said. Is basically
stop
the rooster from being itself.
Yeah,
I just neutered a rooster. Well,
I'm saying that, and we're butchering 10 birds, but I mean it's sustenance for your family, and you again back to that whole. You know what's going into the bird. You know what's coming out of that bird. There's no hormones. There's no antibiotics. There's no garbage going into it.
You're raising and eating.
You're
causing any more. The fuel for you driving back and forth to the grocery store is worse for the environment than raising your own.
Much less of a carbon footprint. You know what's going into it. You're not ingesting all kinds of nasty stuff that who knows what the government's putting into some of the stuff in order to increase their profits. Yeah. So, it's...
Do you ever do like hard boiled then?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when I don't know if you because I know like shipping, I don't think you can ship them, but I can stop by like whenever you have a bunch ready. Oh, you can just put like a button in a bag. I'll stop by like once a week. We can make it like a Wednesday, Saturday thing. Dude, that's the best in the world. A hard boiled egg, a brand new hard boiled egg from
fresh.
Dude, the way it does a thing in your mouth. It's not a yolk. Like it's
umami.
It's not runny. It's not it's happy. It's good. It's everything that you want your mouth to be.
It's that umami.
I don't know what that word means.
It's a Japanese term for the fifth sense, or the sixth sense, I'm sorry.
Or my fifth.
Or your fifth, because you can't smell.
Yeah.
It's just that all things coming together to make that euphoric. Yeah, very good word for it. That euphoric feeling when you taste something that's just
like
perfect.
ayahuasca.
Just like ayahuasca. Yes.
You mix that with the right egg, you get grass-fed ayahuasca and egg. You get your rooster to get hopped up.
So yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's crazy. Yeah, because that's the way to live. That's the way to live forever,
You can do it if
right?
you don't have much land in the city. You can do it. You need to make sure that you're moving that tractor daily. Otherwise, they will ruin your lawn.
Well, that's a good tip of the day.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, shit, man. Well, hey, couple things before we go, because we're about to hit 3 hours, man. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Isn't it awesome how time flies? I just love it, man. Good news is, we can always do this again because I didn't hit record.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No, so first thing I have to say is we, before we go, I have my closing fact of the day. Before crowbars were invented, most crows would drink at home by themselves.
Oh,
yeah,
that's kind
of a very sad day. Last thing, we have to agree that yes, Allison, we will, in fact, me and Chase, we are going to help that to build that bar.
We'll take care of that. Yeah,
but we have agreed we do need to name the middle name.
I feel like Danger is a good one. Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of thinking Danger. Now, you obviously don't have any say in this, so we'll figure this out later. But no, man, I had a great time. I had a lot of fun. Before we go, man, hey, I'd like to give a sec, tell people where they can find your company, a little bit more about it, and everything easy, man.
Absolutely. Taylor Custom Carpentry. Find us on Facebook. My sister is actually working on the website as we speak. It will be taylorcustomcarpentry.com. I do have that domain. Hopefully in about a month it'll be done. And then you can go to taylorcustomcarpentry.com for all your needs. Email me cbtaylor82@gmail.com. We'll take care of any of your interior carpentry needs.
Nice. Well, good deal, man. Well, hey, thanks again for being a part of the KQ show.
Absolutely, man.
We had a bunch of fun, and now we're gonna play a little tickle tag. Or wait, what?
Huh?
Thanks for tuning in.